When I first became a father, I thought my life was complete. My wife and I had built what seemed like the perfect little family, 3 beautiful children, a home full of laughter and dreams that stretched far into the future. I worked hard, sometimes long hours, to make sure they never lacked anything. But despite everything, something inside me always nagged, a whisper that something was off. My wife's coldness, the little excuses, the late nights she couldn't explain. They all piled up until doubt became unbearable. One day, in a mix of fear and desperation, I decided to get a DNA test for all 3 children. My hands shook as I mailed off the samples. I hated myself for even considering it, but the thought wouldn't leave me alone. Weeks later, when the results came back, my heart nearly stopped. None of the children, none, were biologically mine. The paper in my hands felt like it was burning me alive. I couldn't breathe. My entire world collapsed in that moment. I went to my mom for support, thinking she'd hug me, comfort me, or at least acknowledge the pain. Instead, she looked at me calmly and said, "Stop overreacting. Kids don't have to be blood to be yours." I stared at her in disbelief. How could she be so casual about the betrayal I had just uncovered? My wife had lied to me for years, built a family on deception, and I was supposed to just accept it? The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt. Every memory of holding those babies, every night I stayed awake rocking them to sleep, every time I called myself dad now felt like a cruel joke. My wife had been living a double life, keeping me in the dark while she entertained other men. I confronted her with the DNA results, and at first she tried to laugh it off, saying the test must be wrong. But when I pressed harder, the truth slipped from her lips. She had been unfaithful for years. I was devastated, but she didn't even look guilty. Instead, she tried to manipulate me, telling me that I was still the only real father the children knew, and that leaving would make me look heartless. That's when the anger took over. She had stolen years of my life, my trust, and my peace of mind. I wasn't going to let her walk away unscathed. The first step of my revenge was quiet. I spoke to a lawyer. We gathered everything, the DNA reports, her text messages, her late-night absences. The lawyer told me this case could blow up in my favor. Not only could I divorce her, but I could also avoid paying child support since the kids weren't biologically mine. For once, the law was on my side. When I filed for divorce, my wife was blindsided. She screamed, begged, and threatened me all at once. But I had already shut off my emotions toward her. She thought I'd never have the courage to walk away. But she underestimated how betrayal hardens a man's heart. Then came the family fallout. My parents, her parents, and even some of our mutual friends tried to shame me into staying for the kids' sake. They said things like, "Blood doesn't matter and don't punish the children." But not one of them seemed to care that I had been lied to and humiliated for years. They wanted me to sacrifice myself to keep up the image of a perfect family. I refused. As the divorce proceedings dragged on, I focused on rebuilding myself. I moved into a new apartment, changed my routines, and even started dating casually again. My wife, on the other hand, spiraled. Without my income, her lifestyle crumbled. The men she cheated with weren't interested in playing dad or supporting her. And suddenly she was left holding the pieces of the life she'd destroyed. The sweetest part of my revenge wasn't the legal win. It was watching her mask of arrogance fall apart. She used to look at me like I wasn't good enough, like she was doing me a favor by staying married. Now she was the one desperate while I was free. Every time I saw her dragging herself through court, looking exhausted and broken, it felt like justice. Eventually, the divorce was finalized. I was free from her lies, free from the burden of raising children that weren't mine, and free from the cage she had built around me. She tried to come back, claiming the kids missed me and that we could fix things, but I shut the door on her without hesitation. There was no fixing betrayal that deep. In the end, I learned that blood does matter because betrayal flows deeper than water. My so-called wife lost everything, her marriage, her financial security, and her dignity, and I gained something far more valuable than what I lost: peace of mind and a second chance at life. I don't regret my revenge. She gambled with my trust and she lost. Now, I walk forward knowing I'll never allow anyone to play with my heart like that again.